Welcome to the New Warehouse Podcast, the podcast for those that are curious about what's possible inside their four walls. Before we get into this episode, let's hear a word from our sponsors that make this all possible. How healthy is the storage in your warehouse? Have you ever walked the aisles looking for rack damage, empty pallets, or hanging pallet wrap? I know I've spent too much time doing that in my ops career. Now, there's a better answer from Dextery. Storage Health is their AI-powered check that runs with every robot scan that can detect damage, safety hazards, and hygiene issues across your warehouse at every height. Think damaged racking, pallet defects, tipped items, hanging shrink wrap, or damaged goods. Easily detected and alerted by Dextery's AI-powered platform while their robot scans your aisles. Stop missing these critical ops items and put Dextery's Storage Health to work for you at Dextery.com. That's DEXORY.com. Thank you to our sponsors, and now let's get to the podcast.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse Podcast, and I am here in East Brunswick, New Jersey, with an old friend, Rodney Galeano. And you may remember from way back, we did a podcast together inside a warehouse, and now we're inside a different warehouse, and we're going to hear a little bit about this new warehouse that Rodney has here. But Rodney is the CEO and founder of Loki 3PL, which he started just a little over a year ago. So we're going to get the update from him on everything Loki, and we're also going to hear about this new space that we're sitting in right now. And, you know, we see that being filled up, active, and actively working here. So looking forward to learning a little bit about that. So Rodney, how you been, sir?
I've been good, Kevin. It's so good to have you here. It's always good to see you, man. And time's just flying by. It's been a few years since that last session.
Yeah.
That was at a different company. Now this is my company, one that I started.
It's your company, man. Yeah.
It's it definitely feels different entirely. It's a really great feeling. So it's so cool to get to this point with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you and see kind of this growth that you're going through. I know, not every conversation that we have is recorded or is on a podcast, right? But
That's right.
Been checking in with you and visiting the different steps kind of along the Loki journey with you personally. And it's been amazing to see that and really happy to see you in this large space now. So tell us a little bit for, people maybe that are not familiar, didn't see like the previous podcasts we did. Tell us a little bit about Loki 3PL and how it kind of came about last year.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a 3PL, which a lot of people in logistics understand pretty well.
Yeah.
It's different for those that have no idea about logistics. So, we help importers distribute and fulfill product in the United States, across the United States. We're helping importers from China, India, Thailand, so many countries bring their product into the U.S. We're picking the containers up at the ports, and we're helping them with either their B2B or e-commerce fulfillment.
Sure.
The containers, we're bringing them to our warehouse, whether they're palletized or they're floor loaded. Floor loaded is just all the boxes in there like Tetris, right? 3,000-4,000 boxes at a time.
Real life Tetris.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Trying to maximize the capacity in each of the containers. We're bringing it to our port. Of course, if it's palletized, forklift in, forklift out. If it's floor loaded, we're building the pallets up to the client's, there's compliance that has to be followed, right? So
sure.
The importer has their client. How does their client want it? If it's the big retailers like your Costco's, Walmart's, Home Depot, they have their rules, their ways that they want their pallets built, how many boxes per layer, how many layers up on the pallet, the labels that are on each box, on the pallet itself, corner guard straps. That's just getting in standard with each of the pallets.
Yeah.
And it depends how many boxes are in each container, how many pallets we're building. And we're bringing the product into our warehouse, and then we are, we run on a really good warehouse management system here, so everything is tracked. We know when the product gets to the warehouse, when it's stored. We know where all our pallets are at any given time. We can go, that's how the pick process works. So we're picking the product at the pallet level and at the car level, at the unit level. We are shipping product out to businesses or packing it and getting it to people's doorsteps. So we're easily able to connect to any type of e-commerce platform, your Shopify, your eBay, your Amazon. We work with a lot of Amazon sellers, so we're doing a lot of FBA, but we also do a lot of direct-to-consumer, fulfilling orders directly with the orders that come online for our clientele. And we do a lot of B2B as well. So we work with a lot of the bigger retailers out there, like your McDonald's and more of the recognized ones. But then you got some of the smaller ones that are still needing their product there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of a little bit of everything, right? And even some transportation too, I know as well. You're doing some deliveries as well.
That's a really detailed explanation of what we do here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because I'll be able to use this clip to share it with family and friends.
Definitely. Family friends are like, what do you do?
Now they'll know what a 3PL is.
This is what we do.
The easy explanation is we're a small Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of what you said at Thanksgiving.
Sure. So it's been a little over a year since you started Loki, right?
Year and a half now, yeah.
Year and a half, right? And so congratulations on the success so far,
Thanks,
of course.
Kevin,
but
you.
As we are sitting here, right, in this new 100,000 square foot building for you, right? You just moved in here recently. So tell us a little bit about this space and why the move, why this evolution to go bigger.
Man, it's such a beautiful thing to get a warehouse, that is standalone. It's 100,000 square feet. There's so much story behind it. We're so thankful to have gotten to this point. It came down to growth. We were in 2 warehouses that were much smaller. We were subleasing the warehouses. You went to one of them. You saw.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
it was really packed.
Yeah. He was packing it in there, so this space is good.
It was tough, to manage when it's so tight, right? You always need a little bit of room for the lanes, the staging, the processing.
Yeah.
When you have such a crammed location, things run a little less efficiently. So to get a pallet, you got to move a bunch of pallets. And this warehouse, it's a testament of the story from the start, right? We started small, we started growing, and we got to a point where we maxed out the 2 warehouses that we were in. And now we got this warehouse that allows us to move from the other 2 into this one, and then allows us to grow.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted. It's getting us to double in size in our business, which is exactly the plan for 2026.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's fantastic. And I went to the other warehouse, right, and definitely was getting packed in there. So, which was awesome to see because you're growing your business, obviously, and getting more customers and, getting more product in there to be able to support them and do those types of things. But it's great to see you kind of get to this level and have this, 100,000 square feet within here and great amount of dock doors and really just a really nice building here. Definitely. So,
Thank you, Kevin.
Looking forward to seeing what you do with this into the future as well. So now, we see, obviously there's product in here behind us, but obviously there's some space too. So like you said, you're trying to double your business this year. And, and so I imagine, you're talking to a lot of potential clients. You're out there, doing sales, doing development, right? And talking to them. And I'm curious, as you're having those discussions, what are you hearing are some of the challenges right now in the market for whether it's brands that are looking to do B2B or looking for brands looking for FBA or e-commerce? What are some of the top challenges that they're facing?
Brands have a big decision to make. A lot of them are scared from either past experiences. And to be honest, some are really happy with their 3PL partners. There's 3PLs that do a wonderful job out there and they're great.
Sure.
A decision of which 3PL you use is a big one. as a brand, you have such a big expectation, such a big reliability on the 3PL to get the product to the end consumer.
Yeah.
And you think about what goes into that decision. If I'm a brand and I'm looking into 3PLs, I think the biggest thing is having a few options. So looking at a handful of options. And there's a big part of the feel to it, right? So, how does what's the experience like when you do have that first conversation with each of the 3PLs? There's like that gut feeling that starts, right? And we'll talk about both angles, right? So one is, how do they make you feel? How's the experience initially? Are they asking a lot of questions to understand your business really well? Does it show that they care? Does it show that they want to be there? I feel like that's like the start and like the beginning, like the real small stuff. But then even deeper than that is how do they operate as a 3PL? What's their leadership team like? Do they come with a lot of operational experience? What's the decision makers' backgrounds? How involved are they? Can we get examples of their SOPs and, what kind of processes they follow inside their warehouse?
Yeah.
What does their warehouse look like? I always suggest go to the warehouse and see the team firsthand, and that's for sure. But as you're narrowing it down, as a brand, they're so important because there's a lot of like promises that are made during the negotiation, but it goes so much deeper than that. Where will the 3PL do a full breakdown business analysis of the operational proposal? The brand should have a really clear understanding of, what the proposal is going to look like, right? So what will it cost the brand to bring a container in? What will it cost the brand to unload 20 pallets, pick cases out of the pallets, build other, pallets, pack 1,000 orders? What's their UPS, USPS, FedEx, rate structure look like? It's so important for the brand to have a really good understanding of what the 3PL is going to charge and absolutely be aligned on like no surprises with the rates, right? Like the brand should know very clearly what kind of pricing is going to happen. Documenting that is important in an agreement. So what should the agreement have? The brand should be able to hold the 3PL accountable fully. If the brand, what happens if the 3PL loses product, if the 3PL damages product, if the 3PL misships product, if they ship a master carton instead of an each, if they ship the wrong product, if they overship? It's tough if the brand doesn't form a foundation that has all this alignment at the beginning in a signed legal agreement that would hold the 3PL accountable, because that is the only way to hold the 3PL accountable. I've been on the brand side. So when I was, at my DIA, I was managing their warehouse network in the U.S. I was overseeing 5 3PLs. There was some 3PLs that we had a good agreement with. And I'm talking like a legally signed agreement, a legally binding one. And then there were some that we didn't. And when you don't have one, it's really tough to hold them accountable, because ultimately there's no definition on what good looks like and what bad looks like. That's KPIs. What KPIs do they have to hit? What reporting do they have to give us? Do they give us reporting that lets us know the health of the operation every day, every week? How can we recoup money that is lost on the brand side if there is errors that the 3PL makes? There's a lot of moving pieces in here. What happens if the forklift goes through the product? What happens if an employee drops a box? It's all those little tiny details. That's all in the agreement, right? So if you're a brand looking for a 3PL, I think the most important thing is have a really good agreement in place. Make sure the 3PL is willing to take on the responsibility as a 3PL if they make mistakes, if they damage, if they lose product. That's extremely key. Additional to that, do they have the operational experience? Who's running the show at the 3PL? Who owns the 3PL? It might be a question that you want to ask yourself. How does the communication work? A lot of the larger 3PLs, I think there is, there's such like downfalls and pros to everything, right? Pros and cons to everything. But, like Amazon's in the 3PL space, DHL's in the 3PL space. Been seeing so many articles on this coming out.
Especially recently with Amazon, right?
For sure. As a big brand, you're talking to somebody at some of the larger companies. You're talking to the VP of operations, the director of operations. They're great people. They're wonderful people. You agree on everything with them. And they get a better opportunity to go somewhere else. They leave. Now you're left with not knowing anybody at that 3PL.
Yeah.
The new person might operate completely differently. The new person might not be fully aligned with what was discussed when the partnership started.
Yeah.
That happens. That's typical. The difference between the smaller 3PL players, an owner-operator like Loki 3PL is ran by an owner-operator, right? Like I'm
Right.
here every single day, eat, breathe, and sleep everything about the 3PL here, about our 3PL here.
Sure.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're always going to have Rodney here at Loki. You're always going to have that main person that you talk to, that you started the conversation with. I think that's a big difference to it, and there's a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a brand, it's a big decision. Do a lot of research, do a lot of homework. Feel really good about that 3PL that you pick. That gut feeling is huge, but it's just, it's so much deeper than that. You have to have a good agreement.
Yeah,
Let me see SOPs, let me see reporting, and all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's great advice, right? To get that written in the agreement, because I think, there's so many different spectrums of 3PLs, right? From like small owner operator type 3PLs to the Amazons, like you said, and DHLs, et cetera. So it's across the board. And, a lot of times, people are like, oh yeah, it's like, we'll do handshake agreement, right? But like you said, like, well, when it comes down to it, like, that's inventory is money, right? So like, how do I make sure that my, money or my inventory is protected as a brand? So I'm curious actually, as a 3PL, right? You just kind of brought up Amazon in there, and obviously, they recently talked about their supply chain services, right? That they've released.
To offer 3PL
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, as a 3PL, like, what's your take on that? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think there's always going to be competition in any business that you have. Yeah. I've been listening a lot to David Senra's podcast.
Yeah.
And, he's got a really good podcast where he's interviewing like some of like the greatest entrepreneurs out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm listening to like Michael Dell, the founder of Dell, and Dana White, the founder of UFC, and some of the most successful companies out there. And they talk about how every day they're going to war because there's somebody out there that wants to eat them. There's somebody out there that wants to crush their business, that is coming for them with a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of passion to destroy their business. What they started, what they have. As an entrepreneur, you live with that. As you're doing it. The pressure is so high. I compete with a lot of 3PLs. There's so many out there. I know that when I get an opportunity and an offer, there's also 5 other options. How do I differentiate myself is a big one. Then you got Amazon coming out and, hey, we're going to start competing against you, and DHL competing against you. I think there is a niche for the smaller 3PLs. And there's a lot of great leaders out there talking a lot about this and writing a lot of articles. I think we're all kind of on the same page where a smaller 3PL does things that the bigger one will not. Like answer the phone, to stay open a little bit longer, like having somebody on the floor that's willing to, having a 3PL that's willing to relabel 10,000 units for you, rework 5,000 toaster ovens because there's a recall and, there's a pan that needs to be switched in and out. And it goes so much deeper than that. Mm-hmm. That's the difference between having a smaller 3PL that you have more of a personable relationship with, that you can call somebody easily, like the owner, like the decision makers there, that are willing to do things that the larger ones, are not going to be there for, and I think that's huge, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will somebody answer the phone?
Yeah. That's
like a really big one. The bigger 3PLs, they have their policies, and their thing, they're, and I'm not saying that the smaller ones
are more like
policies.
Rigid. Yeah.
Yeah, but the smaller 3PLs, we got asked for favors all the time. Can you come in earlier? Can you stay later? Can you open on a Saturday? Can you open on a Sunday? I get called all the time, randomly from a client. And I think me being there for them at that time is, what starts building that trust, and it's just like, are you reliable or not?
Yeah.
And, I got a call last night from somebody, and I'm like going to dinner, and they're like, hey, I'm in a bad situation. I need to pick up this load in Carson, and I need to get it delivered to like Wisconsin or something.
Yeah.
And, for me, I'm like, this is what reliability is all about. Like, let me let me try and help this person
Sure.
as much as I can right there. And that just doesn't stop. That doesn't stop. You know, we get stuff like that all the time. Like, I mean, even those pallets right there, right? Like we had to build those pallets from 20 pallets to 10 pallets. We got to strap them. We got to corner guard them. We got to shrink wrap them. We got to put the label outside. You know, we'd go out of our way to use a blow dryer to blow dry the label off, to melt the adhesive, take the adhesive off.
You gotta get creative.
So we use the same one to put it on the new pallet.
Sure.
And we go above and beyond like that all the time. You know, and we're here. This is a service industry. You know, we're here for our clients. You know, this is all possible because we service the clients that give us the opportunity to do business with them. That partnership is everything. You know, we've gotten to this point today because of client referrals, because of references that, you know, have experienced working with me, with Loki. That's what'll help us grow not only to 100,000 square feet, but to 1,000,000 square feet. Yeah. That's the difference maker. And, you know, we're not done here, man. This is the New Jersey site. Then we're going to a lot of other places in the country. Yeah. And, you know, it's you can't have any doubt in yourself, man. Yeah, we're gonna do this. This is high risk, high reward. There's a lot of pressure, man. It's not all champagne and caviar. It's not easy sometimes. It's not easy ever, I don't think. It's something good is not easy. Yeah. That's just the reality. And that's okay. Yeah. Right? Like you want something that's great, you know, you believe in something so much, you're going all in on it, and there's nobody that's gonna stop you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that mentality. And I think, you know, it's great to see, I mean, just in a year and a half, right? I mean, like how much you've grown into this space as well. So definitely looking forward to seeing get to that 1,000,000 square feet as well, as you talked about across the country. So
thank you. The good thing is this is being recorded. So I want to see this video. We
got to hold them accountable here. We're recording
2 or 3 years, and we will look back at this and we'll see what happens then.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned in there, you know, you talked about kind of the supply chain services that Amazon has rolled out, right? And kind of the differences there. And I think, you know, you have great point. And I totally agree. I think that, you know, Amazon is super rigid, right? And what they want to do, right? And I think, you know, they've kind of shown that in, you know, discontinuing like their FBA prep services internally, right? To be able to do that. So I feel like, you know, your point to like, hey, the more like boutique, smaller 3PL that's not at the size of Amazon, right, is going to be more willing to like do those favors, right, or be more willing to do customization or special projects or things of that nature, more flexible in a sense, right, which I think is the win there. So I'm curious, like, for you, Loki, because you mentioned, you know, you talk to a client and you're like, all right, well, I know there's 5 other options out there, right? Yeah. So like, how do you differentiate yourself, and like what would you say is the differentiator for you all?
We focus heavily on service. We are not the cheapest 3PL out there, and we do not want to be. We do not want to be on that race to the bottom. If the client or the brand is looking for the cheapest option out there, Loki is not a good place for them. If they're looking for service, reliability, strong leadership, and the best communication, Loki's a wonderful option. Yeah. I love when brands ask me, or, you know, any potential client out there asks me for a client reference. The clients that we have, they're always available to talk about the experience with Loki.
That's great. Yeah.
What it's like to work with the team. Do they deliver? What's their service like? It comes right from the clientele. Yeah. If a 3PL doesn't have 5 client references that they can share with every potential client, that might be something to factor into your decision. Yeah. The differentiator is, you know, that's one side of it, but the amount of times that our clients tell us and give us feedback is routinely. You know, we're asking for it every month and a half, every 2 months. And the amount of times they say, you know, you guys always go above and beyond. You guys, you know, really, really, like, your service is exceptional. It's because that's all we care about. That's what we focus on. This is a service business. You know, we have to deliver every single day. You know, we cannot drop the ball. We cannot miss ship anything. We cannot be late. Yeah. Our communication's got to be great. We answer emails in 30 minutes. We answer the phone right away when somebody calls. We follow up on everything. Not you call them and then you don't listen. You don't hear back in a day or two. Yeah. Sometimes I'm working till 11 p.m. at night. Sure. Yeah. My fiance doesn't like that. But I care so much about the service. That's what's going to get you to, be successful.
Yeah.
It's the service. It's everything. There's, a lot of stuff's important out there, but the most important thing is our approach, our most primary approach is the service side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. I mean, I think, and I've known you for multiple years now, right? So I know like you care about that, and you will go and, be there at 11 p.m. if your client needs you to be there at 11 p.m. And, I think, that service is such a key factor and such a big differentiator to, some brands that might just feel like they're just another name or number that are, in the warehouse there. And are they getting the love and attention that they need to feel? Right.
We stay away from that.
Exactly.
Word.
Yeah.
We do not, we very much dislike the idea of making anybody feel transactional.
Yeah.
Extremely relationship based, service based, and the partnership has to be fair and balanced out.
Absolutely.
You have to be transparent. Don't get caught up in a web of lies and hiding stuff.
Yeah. They only get bigger, and it only spirals from there. I mean,
it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely.
We make mistakes. We own up to them. We communicate. We're transparent, and then we do something about it.
Yeah.
Always do something about it.
Yeah.
What is the root cause? Why did it happen? How did it happen? What are we going to do about it to make sure that it doesn't happen again? Reduce the risk and the chance of it happening again.
Yeah.
That's really big. You got to hold your employees accountable.
Yeah.
The people side of a business is always going to be complicated and tough.
Yeah.
It's already hard enough to get warehouse associates to come to work.
People are difficult. I'm difficult sometimes.
Everybody's
I'm sure you are
difficult.
too.
I'm very difficult. I don't know. I'm very difficult for sure. One of the things that is really difficult about leadership is being able to go out on the floor and saying what is going to be disliked and what people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the team and the company great. When I go out on the floor, if I see somebody with a headset on, I'm going to tell them that it's not allowed on the floor. I'm going to ask them where their vest is. I'm going to let them know that you can't wear sweatpants here.
Yeah.
I'm going to, let them know that they left their forklift on yesterday.
Sure.
And now we have to have a forklift that has a dead battery in the morning. That's really problematic. I'm always going to be out on the floor, and I'm going to say the things that you have to say as a leader.
Yeah.
And it's going to be disliked. But people will realize that is what's going to get you to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is huge. So back to it, right? Like getting like the accountability piece, that does mean that you have to let go of people. You have to fire people when they don't make sense for your business.
Sure.
They keep making the same mistakes. They keep damaging product. If they're not taking it serious with our, cardinal rules, they got to go.
Yeah. They got to care about what they're doing.
And we let go of people here because we care.
Yeah.
And we focus on being fair.
Sure.
So there's so much detail. Like, you go in and out of the trucks. Mm-hmm. And it's like small things, man. We care about the small little things because that leads up to the big things. But some of the edge of docks here, when you're backing in or when you're going in or out with the forklift, if the forks are all the way to the ground, the forks will hit the edge of dock when they go in.
Right.
Eventually, you hit that enough, it's going to loosen up the chains of the fork.
Yeah.
The fork itself is going to depreciate a lot faster.
Yeah.
If you have tire marks on the warehouse floor, people are going too fast.
Yeah.
If they're swerving and they're driving sideways, they're going too fast.
Yeah.
If they're driving forward and then they put their reverse gear on while their forklift is moving forward, that's going to mess up the transmission. You hear the transmission click.
Yeah.
I will always say something about those little things, and I'll say something about the big things.
Yeah.
For sure. The cleanliness is big. The timeliness is big. everything ends up being so important.
Yeah.
You know, if we can't do those little things, we can't do the big things.
Yeah, absolutely. Those little things come together to make the big goal happen, right? You know, those little things kind of coming together to build the whole, right? I mean, those are the things that are really ultimately going to get you to be at that next level and that success, right? And obviously, we've seen you have this success so far in this space right here. But
Thank you, Kevin.
obviously, there's some space to fill here too, right? So you're open for business for sure. So tell people a little bit, like, how can they get in touch if they're looking for a 3PL in New Jersey? What's the best way to learn more about Loki?
Yeah, of course. You know, Google best 3PL in New Jersey.
And you pop up, yeah?
We'll come up.
Oh, okay.
We'll come up.
That's good.
And, you know, ultimately, we'd love the opportunity to work with a lot of the different brands and a lot of the different companies out there that are looking for a 3PL. We'd love to be given the chance. It's got to be an opportunity that makes sense for both of us. If the opportunity doesn't make sense for us and we can't service it at a really high level, and it's not a good fit, it doesn't make sense to have a really good partnership. You can't get into it like that. So happy to refer to other 3PLs, but for us at Loki, you know, you definitely have a good idea of what we do. Loki3PL.com. On our website, self-explanatory how to get a hold of us. I'm Rodney Galeano. You can reach out to me via LinkedIn. I'm sure maybe we can, share contact in another way. Reach out to Kevin Lawton. He's got my information. All that works.
Absolutely. So it's been a pleasure to be here with you. And we'll definitely put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well as in the show notes for this episode. So if you need a 3PL in New Jersey, you know who to call. Talk to Rodney right here. Congratulations, man.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Enjoyed this episode? Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, and for more content from the New Warehouse, find us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Links to subscribe can be found in the show notes, and for everything The New Warehouse, head to thenewwarehouse.com.